Have you ever noticed that the strongest person in the room is rarely the loudest? While everyone else reacts with anger, panic, or frustration, they remain calm. They don't need to prove themselves. They don't chase approval. They don't lose sleep over insults. They simply stand firm, as if nothing can shake them. This isn't luck. It isn't because life is easier for them. It's because they've mastered something that most people never do. Their emotions. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor who ruled one of the greatest empires in history, faced betrayal, wars, disease, and unimaginable pressure almost every day. Yet instead of allowing the world to control his mind, he wrote one simple reminder to himself. You have power over your mind, not outside events. That sentence has survived nearly 2,000 years because it reveals one timeless truth. Life doesn't break us. Our reactions do. Most people wake up already overwhelmed. Before their feet even touch the floor, they're scrolling through bad news, comparing themselves on social media, worrying about money, relationships, or what other people think. Their emotions are controlled by notifications, by strangers, by circumstances. They become prisoners without realizing it. The Stoics believe freedom begins the moment you stop allowing the outside world to dictate your inner peace. Imagine what your life would look like if insults no longer ruined your day, if rejection no longer crushed your confidence, if stress no longer stole your sleep, if fear no longer stopped you from chasing your goals. That isn't emotional numbness. It's emotional mastery. And emotional mastery isn't something you're born with. It's something you practice. Today, we'll explore 10 powerful daily Stoic habits that gradually transform ordinary people into emotionally unshakable individuals. These habits are simple, but don't mistake simple for easy. If practiced consistently, they can completely reshape the way you think, react, and live. Let's begin with the first habit. Habit 1: pause. Before reacting, most mistakes aren't made because people are evil. They're made because people react too quickly. Someone criticizes you. You explode. Someone ignores your message. You assume they hate you. Someone cuts you off in traffic. Your entire mood is ruined. Notice something? The event wasn't actually the problem. Your immediate reaction was. The Stoics understood that between every event and every response exists a tiny space. A pause. Within that pause lies your freedom. Most people never notice it. Their emotions immediately take control. It's almost automatic. Someone presses the right button, and they become angry. Another presses another button, and they become insecure. They're like puppets whose strings are pulled by everyone else. But Stoics train themselves to interrupt that automatic process. Instead of reacting instantly, they breathe. They observe. They ask themselves, is this really worth my peace? That single question changes everything. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself that people act according to what they believe is right. Even rude people, even selfish people, even dishonest people. Recognizing this doesn't excuse bad behavior. It simply prevents you from becoming another victim of it. Imagine someone insulting you at work. Most people spend hours replaying the conversation. Some spend days. Others carry that resentment for years. The Stoic spends a few seconds asking, can I control what they said? No. Can I control my response? Absolutely. The battle ends there, because every unnecessary emotional reaction steals something precious. Your energy. And energy is one of life's greatest currencies. The more you protect it, the stronger you become. Today, practice creating just a 5-second pause before responding to anything emotional. 5 seconds. That tiny habit may completely change your relationships.
Habit 2: separate facts. From stories, your mind tells stories, constantly. Someone doesn't answer your text. Story: they're ignoring me. Reality: you don't know. Someone looks serious. Story: they're angry with me. Reality: maybe they're tired, maybe they're worried about something completely unrelated.
Most emotional suffering doesn't come from reality. It comes from the stories we invent. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus said, "It is not events that disturb us, but our judgments about them." Think about that. Two people experience the exact same event. One falls apart, the other remains calm. What changed? Not reality, interpretation. Our minds love filling gaps with assumptions. Unfortunately, assumptions are usually negative. We're wired to expect danger. This helped our ancestors survive. But today, it often creates anxiety where none exists. Suppose your boss asks to speak with you tomorrow. Many people won't sleep that night. I must be getting fired. What if I mess something up? What if I've disappointed everyone? The next day, the boss simply wants to compliment your work. All that suffering was imaginary. Stoicism teaches us to question every emotional story. Ask yourself, what evidence do I actually have? Not feelings. Evidence. Most worries disappear immediately under that question. Facts create clarity. Stories create fear. The calmer your interpretation becomes, the calmer your life becomes. Habit. 3. Accept what you cannot control. This may be the most famous Stoic lesson ever taught, and perhaps the hardest. Most people spend their lives fighting reality, complaining about weather, complaining about traffic, complaining about politics, complaining about other people, complaining about the past. Notice the common pattern. None of those things can be controlled. Yet people pour endless emotional energy into resisting them. It's like standing in the ocean, trying to stop the tide. You only exhaust yourself. Stoicism doesn't teach passivity. It teaches intelligent action. If something can be changed, work hard. If something cannot be changed, accept it. Acceptance isn't weakness. It's wisdom. Marcus Aurelius compared obstacles to fire. Throw a log onto a weak fire. It dies. Throw the same log onto a blazing fire. The fire grows larger. Your challenges can either destroy you or strengthen you. The difference depends entirely on your mindset. Imagine losing your job. You could spend months asking, "Why me?" Or you could ask, "What can I do next?" One question traps you, the other frees you. Life will never stop presenting obstacles. Never. There will always be delays, failures, heartbreak, unexpected losses. The Stoics knew this. That's exactly why they prepared themselves mentally every single day. Not because they were pessimists, but because preparation creates resilience. The moment you stop arguing with reality, you reclaim enormous emotional strength instead of wishing life were different. Become stronger than your circumstances, because that is real freedom. Most people spend years searching for happiness without realizing they're leaking emotional energy every single day. These first 3 habits plug those leaks. But what comes next is where real transformation begins. The next habits aren't just about staying calm. Yeah, they're about becoming mentally untouchable, even when life becomes chaotic. And that's exactly where we're going next. Emotional control isn't about suppressing your feelings. It's about refusing to let your feelings become your master. Every day, millions of people surrender their peace without even noticing. A rude comment ruins their morning. One setback destroys their confidence. A single rejection convinces them they're not good enough. The Stoics saw this as the greatest form of slavery. Not chains around your wrists, but chains around your mind. True freedom begins when your emotional state no longer depends on what happens around you. That freedom is built one habit at a time. Let's continue. Habit 4. Begin every morning with intention. Most people don't start their day. Their day starts them. The alarm rings. They grab their phone. Notifications, emails, news, social media. Within minutes, their mind is flooded with other people's opinions, problems, and expectations. Before they've even taken a full breath, someone else has already decided what they'll think about. The Stoics believed this was one of the greatest mistakes a person could make. Marcus Aurelius began each morning by reminding himself what kind of people he would meet. He wrote, Today, I shall meet people who are meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly. At first glance, this sounds pessimistic. It isn't. It's preparation. Imagine stepping into a boxing ring without expecting to be punched. Every hit would surprise you. Now imagine entering the ring already expecting resistance. You're ready. Life works exactly the same way. If you expect every conversation to go perfectly, every disagreement feels personal. If you expect every project to succeed, every setback feels like failure. But when you remind yourself that obstacles are part of life, you stop being shocked by them. Preparation removes panic. This morning practice doesn't need to take an hour. 5. Quiet minutes are enough. Ask yourself, what challenges might appear today? How will I respond with wisdom instead of emotion? What kind of person do I want to become before the day begins? Notice the difference. You're no longer waiting for life to shape your mood. You're choosing your mindset in advance. Imagine walking into work after making that decision. Someone criticizes your idea. Instead of reacting emotionally, you think, I expected challenges today. A meeting gets canceled. Traffic is terrible. Plans change unexpectedly. Instead of frustration, there's acceptance. Not because the day became easier, because you became stronger. Every sunrise gives you a fresh opportunity to train your mind. Don't waste those first moments by handing them over to the world. Own them, because whoever controls your morning often controls your entire day. Habit 5. Practice. Negative visualization. This is one of the most misunderstood Stoic practices. People hear the phrase negative visualization and assume it means expecting the worst. It doesn't. It means appreciating what you have before life reminds you to. The Stoics regularly imagined losing the things they loved, not to become depressed, but to become grateful. Think about your closest friend, your parents, your children, your health, your home, your ability to walk, your eyesight. Most people assume these things will always be there, until one day they aren't. Then they say, I wish I had appreciated it more. The Stoics refused to wait for tragedy before practicing gratitude. Seneca advised imagining that everything you value has been lent to you, not permanently given, because one day life may ask for it back. This changes everything. Imagine drinking your morning coffee as if it were your last cup, listening to your child's laughter as if it were a rare gift, walking outside knowing that many people would give anything for healthy legs. Suddenly, ordinary moments become extraordinary. Gratitude is impossible without awareness, and awareness grows when you stop assuming tomorrow is guaranteed. This habit also makes you emotionally stronger. Why? Because you've already accepted that loss is part of life. You're no longer pretending that change doesn't exist. You're learning to love deeply, without clinging desperately. There's an important difference. Attachment says, I can't live without this. Gratitude says, I'm thankful I have this today. One creates fear, the other creates peace. When you stop treating blessings like guarantees, you begin experiencing life more fully. Ironically, imagining loss teaches you how to live. Habit 6. Speak less, observe more. Have you noticed that the wisest people usually speak the least? That's not an accident. Most people talk to impress. Stoics listen to understand. Every unnecessary word creates opportunities for regret. An angry sentence spoken in 10 seconds can destroy a friendship built over 10 years. A careless comment can damage a reputation overnight. Yet silence almost never creates those problems. Epictetus once said, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so that we can listen twice as much as we speak. In today's world, silence has become rare. Everyone wants to respond immediately. Everyone wants the last word. Everyone wants to prove they're right. But ask yourself this, how often has winning an argument actually improved your life? Probably not very often. Winning an argument often means losing something else. Peace, respect, trust, relationships. The Stoics understood that wisdom doesn't rush to speak. It pauses, it observes, it asks questions. Think about someone who constantly interrupts conversations. They're usually listening only long enough to prepare their own response. Now think about someone who quietly listens until you've finished. Who do you trust more? Who seems wiser? Who feels calmer? Silence isn't weakness. It's discipline. Imagine someone insults you in public. Most people instantly defend themselves. They argue, raise their voice, try to prove the other person wrong. The Stoic asks a different question. Does this actually deserve my energy? Sometimes the strongest response is no response at all. Silence forces other people to confront their own behavior. It also gives your emotions time to cool. Many conflicts disappear simply because one person refused to pour fuel onto the fire. Observation is equally powerful. When you're constantly talking, you miss what's happening. You miss body language, hidden emotions, unspoken fears, patterns in people's behavior. Quiet people often notice what loud people overlook. That's why they're harder to manipulate. The next time you're in a conversation, try speaking 20% less. Listen 20% more. Pay attention to facial expressions, tone of voice, moments of hesitation. You'll be amazed at how much information appears when you stop trying to dominate every conversation. Remember, words can reveal intelligence, but silence often reveals wisdom. You've now learned 6 habits that separate emotionally reactive people from emotionally resilient ones. Notice how none of these habits require money, status, talent, or perfect circumstances. They require only one thing: daily practice. But the next 3 habits take Stoic emotional mastery to an even deeper level. They'll teach you how to stop taking things personally, how to strengthen your mind through discomfort, and how to become someone whose peace cannot be stolen by the opinions of others. Those lessons have transformed leaders, philosophers, warriors, and ordinary people for over 2,000 years. Control your emotions. Like a Stoic. 10 daily habits that change everything. Stoicism. By now, one thing should be becoming clear. The Stoics didn't become emotionally strong because life treated them kindly. They became emotionally strong because they trained their minds every single day. Think about physical strength for a moment. No one walks into a gym once and expects a completely transformed body. Real strength is built through repetition. The mind works exactly the same way. Every calm response, every moment of patience, every time you choose wisdom over impulse, you're strengthening your emotional muscles, one decision at a time. Let's continue with 3 habits that can completely change how you see yourself and the world around you. Habit 7. Stop taking everything personally. Imagine walking down the street when someone you've known for years passes by without saying hello. What is your first thought? For many people, it's something like, they're upset with me. What did I do wrong? They must not like me anymore. Within seconds, the mind creates an entire story. But what if that person simply didn't see you? What if they were overwhelmed with problems at home? What if they had just received terrible news? Most of the time, other people's behavior has very little to do with you. Yet we make ourselves the center of every situation. The Stoics warned against this habit because it gives strangers enormous control over our emotions. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that every person acts according to their own experiences, beliefs, fears, and limitations. People aren't reacting to you. They're reacting to the world as they understand it. Think about someone who insults everyone they meet. Eventually, you realize something. The problem isn't everyone else. The problem is them. The same applies in everyday life. Someone criticizes your work. Someone speaks impatiently. Someone acts cold. Instead of asking, "What's wrong with me?" ask, "What might they be carrying that I can't see?" This simple shift creates compassion instead of resentment. Compassion isn't about agreeing with bad behavior. It's about refusing to let another person's emotional storm become your own. Consider how often people project their own struggles onto others. An insecure person may constantly criticize. An angry person may look for conflict. A fearful person may discourage your dreams. A jealous person may minimize your achievements. If you absorb every opinion directed at you, you'll spend your life carrying burdens that never belong to you. Epictetus taught that if someone speaks badly of you, you have two choices. If what they say is true, improve yourself. If it isn't true, why be disturbed? Either way, anger serves no purpose. This doesn't mean you ignore constructive criticism. Wise people welcome honest feedback, but they don't confuse criticism with identity. One comment doesn't define your worth. One mistake doesn't define your future. One person's opinion doesn't determine your value. Remember this: people see you through the lens of their own experiences, not through objective truth. When you truly understand this, you stop chasing everyone's approval, because you realize something impossible. No matter how kind you are, someone will misunderstand you. No matter how honest you are, someone will doubt you. No matter how successful you become, someone will envy you. Trying to control other people's opinions is like trying to control the wind. Impossible. Control your character instead. That's enough. Habit 8. Train yourself. Through voluntary discomfort, modern life encourages comfort. Soft beds, instant entertainment, food delivered to your door, climate-controlled rooms, endless distractions. Comfort itself isn't the enemy. Dependence on comfort is. The Stoics deliberately practice small forms of discomfort, not to punish themselves, but to become mentally stronger. Seneca occasionally wore simple clothes despite his wealth. He ate plain meals. He reminded himself that happiness didn't depend on luxury. Why? Because anything you cannot live without eventually controls you. Ask yourself honestly, what happens when your phone battery dies? When the internet goes out? When your plans suddenly change? Many people become irritated almost immediately. Not because the situation is unbearable, but because they become addicted to convenience. Stoicism teaches that resilience grows only when comfort is occasionally interrupted. Imagine taking a cold shower for 30 seconds. At first, your mind screams, "Get out!" But if you stay calm, something remarkable happens. You realize the discomfort isn't defeating you. Your reaction was the real challenge. The same principle applies everywhere. Choose the stairs instead of the elevator. Walk instead of driving short distances. Spend an evening without social media. Delay unnecessary pleasures. Wake up a little earlier. Finish difficult tasks before easy ones. These actions seem small, but they teach your brain an extraordinary lesson. I can handle discomfort. And once you truly believe that, fear begins to lose its power. Many dreams remain unfinished because people mistake discomfort for danger. Starting a business feels uncomfortable. Having difficult conversations feels uncomfortable. Going to the gym feels uncomfortable. Speaking in public feels uncomfortable. Learning new skills feels uncomfortable. Growth almost always does. The Stoics understood that avoiding discomfort means avoiding transformation. Every challenge you willingly face expands your confidence. Not because life gets easier, because you become more capable. One day, when real hardship arrives, and it always does, you won't panic. You'll remember every small challenge you've already overcome. Strength isn't built during peaceful times. It's revealed during difficult ones, and the best preparation for difficult moments is choosing small discomfort today. Habit 9. Reflect every evening. Imagine trying to improve at a game you've never reviewed. You make mistakes. Repeat them, never learn, and wonder why nothing changes. This is how many people live. Days become weeks. Weeks become years. They stay trapped in the same emotional patterns because they never stop to examine them. The Stoics ended each day with reflection. Seneca asked himself questions every evening. What did I do well today? Where did I let emotion control me? How can I respond better tomorrow? Notice something important. He wasn't judging himself. He was training himself. There's a huge difference. Many people think self-reflection means criticizing themselves. The Stoics believed it meant educating yourself. Imagine replaying your day. Perhaps someone interrupted you during a meeting. You became irritated. Instead of feeling guilty, you ask, "Why did that bother me?" Maybe your pride was hurt. Maybe you felt ignored. Maybe you were already stressed before the meeting began. Now you've discovered the real issue. Awareness always comes before change. Without reflection, emotions remain unconscious. With reflection, they become teachers. Even 5 minutes before bed can transform your life. Ask yourself, what challenged my peace today? Did I react or respond? What am I grateful for? Did I become a little wiser than yesterday? Small improvements seem insignificant at first, but imagine becoming just 1% calmer every day, 1% more patient, 1% more disciplined. After a year, you're no longer the same person. Not because of one dramatic event, but because of hundreds of tiny corrections. The evening is more than the end of the day. It's the classroom where wisdom is quietly built. Don't rush from one day into the next without learning from it, because every sunset offers something priceless, a chance to become better tomorrow. At this point, you've learned 9 daily Stoic habits that can transform the way you think, respond, and live. But there is one final habit, and in many ways, it's the habit that ties all the others together. It's the practice that separates people who merely understand Stoicism from those who truly live it. If you've stayed with me this far, you've already done something many people never do. You've chosen growth over distraction. You've invested your attention in something that can genuinely change the quality of your life. By now, you've probably noticed a pattern running through every Stoic habit we've discussed. None of them promise an easier life. They promise a stronger mind. The Stoics never believed they could control the world. They believed they could control themselves. And in doing so, they discovered a kind of freedom that no amount of wealth, fame, or status could ever provide. Let's finish with the most important habit of all. Habit 10: live. According to your values, not your feelings. Feelings change. Values endure. Think about how often emotions shift throughout a single day. You wake up motivated. By afternoon, you're tired. By evening, you're discouraged. If your decisions depend entirely on how you feel in the moment, your life will constantly move in different directions. One day you'll chase your goals. The next day you'll quit. One day you'll forgive. The next day you'll seek revenge. One day you'll save money. The next day you'll spend impulsively. Your emotions become the driver, and your future becomes unpredictable. The Stoics believe that character should lead where emotions hesitate. Marcus Aurelius didn't wake up every morning feeling excited to carry the weight of an empire. There were days filled with war, days filled with betrayal, days filled with grief. Yet he continued to act according to his duty, not because he always felt like it, but because he knew what kind of man he wanted to be. This is one of the greatest lessons Stoicism offers. Don't ask yourself, what do I feel like doing today? Ask yourself, what would the best version of me do today? That single question changes everything. Imagine 2 people waking up on a rainy morning. The first says, I don't feel like exercising, so they stay in bed. The second says, I don't feel like exercising either, but I value discipline more than comfort. They get up anyway. Who becomes stronger after a year? Not the one who waited for motivation, the one who acted despite emotion. The same principle applies to every area of life. You won't always feel like apologizing, but you value humility. You won't always feel like studying, but you value growth. You won't always feel like saving money, but you value freedom. You won't always feel calm, but you value wisdom. Living according to values creates consistency, and consistency creates trust. People begin to rely on you because your character doesn't change with your mood. More importantly, you begin to trust yourself. You keep promises to yourself. You follow through. You become someone whose actions align with your principles. That inner alignment creates a quiet confidence that cannot be bought. It's the confidence that comes from knowing, no matter what happens today, I will remain true to who I am. That is emotional mastery, not the absence of emotion, but the presence of unwavering character. Let's pause for a moment and look back at the journey we've taken. We learned to pause before reacting instead of allowing emotions to make decisions for us. We learned to separate facts from the stories our minds invent. We accepted what we cannot control and focused our energy where it truly matters. We began each morning with intention instead of allowing the world to dictate our mindset. We practiced gratitude by remembering that nothing in life is guaranteed. We discovered the strength hidden in silence and careful observation. We stopped taking everything personally and recognized that other people's actions often reflect their own struggles. We embraced small moments of discomfort to prepare ourselves for life's greater challenges. We reflected every evening, turning each day into an opportunity for growth. And finally, we committed to living according to our values rather than our temporary emotions. Individually, each habit is powerful. Together, they become a way of life. This is what Stoicism has always been, not a collection of inspiring quotes, not an ancient philosophy to admire from a distance, but a practical guide for living with courage, wisdom, justice, and self-control. Imagine two ships sailing across the same ocean. The first ship changes direction every time the wind shifts. A strong gust pushes it east. Another pushes it west. It has no clear destination because it allows every external force to decide its course. The second ship also faces storms. The waves crash against it. The wind resists it, but its captain holds firmly to the compass. The conditions change. The destination does not. That captain is the Stoic. The ocean is life. The storms are your problems. The wind represents other people's opinions, unexpected setbacks, failures, and disappointments. Your values are the compass. As long as you continue following that compass, no storm can truly make you lost. It may delay you. It may challenge you, but it cannot define you. Most people spend their lives trying to control the weather. The Stoic learns to become a better sailor. And that makes all the difference. The world will always give you reasons to be angry, to worry, to compare yourself, to lose hope. There will always be people who misunderstand you, situations that frustrate you, plans that fail, dreams that take longer than expected. None of that will ever disappear, but neither will your ability to choose your response. Every sunrise offers another chance to become calmer than yesterday, wiser than yesterday, stronger than yesterday. Not perfect, just better. Remember, emotional mastery is not built during extraordinary moments. It is built in ordinary ones, in the pause before you speak, in the breath before you react, in the choice to forgive instead of resent, in the decision to continue when quitting feels easier. Those small moments seem insignificant, but over months and years, they shape your entire character. One day, people will look at your calmness and assume you were simply born that way. They won't see the thousands of quiet decisions you made when no one was watching. They won't see the mornings you chose discipline, the evenings you reflected, the moments you swallowed your pride, the fears you faced, the discomfort you embraced. But you'll know. And that's enough, because true strength doesn't seek applause. It seeks integrity. As Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. Guard those thoughts carefully, train them daily, and your life will begin to reflect the peace you've built within. If this message resonated with you, don't let it become another video you simply watched. Choose just one of these 10 habits and begin practicing it today. Not tomorrow, Not next week, today, because lasting transformation doesn't happen all at once. It happens one deliberate choice at a time. If you found value in this video, consider subscribing and joining us on this journey to cultivate wisdom, resilience, and inner peace through the timeless teachings of Stoicism. Leave a comment below and tell us, which of these 10 Stoic habits will you start practicing first? Your answer might inspire someone else to begin their own journey. Until next time, remember, the greatest victory is not over other people. It is over yourself. Stay calm, stay disciplined, and keep becoming the person that no circumstance can break.